Well, what do you know? On the third attempt, I managed to go live. Uh, really? And there's somebody viewing already? Nobody's viewing this. I instantaneously, yeah, whatever. All right. So, and then I had, anyway, and I screwed up a little bit because trying to go live on this thing, I wound up deleting some, anyway, but okay, finally, I have gone live. All right. So let's be quick. Or not that quick, but because I got a lot to talk about today. Oh my goodness. Let's quit talking about status and let's talk about current events. So, my 100 monkey people, welcome back. It is Sunday and Sunday school. I'm going to hopefully have some links underneath. How shitty are these humans that just fuck with YouTube channels and delete and, right? Orwell, and by the way, George Orwell, that was not a warning. That was notice. There's a difference between notice and and a warning. That was their blueprint. They have to inform us of what they're going to do to us, and here we are. They have absolutely positively made it so that the fact checkers. What did Orwell call them? Orwell called them the Ministry of Truth and the Truth Police. What we have now, what you've been trained to call them, is fact checkers. They do anything but check facts. Basically, they lie to you all day long, and then tell you that they're checking your facts. That's exactly not what's going on. But like I said, this is so much going on. Fires and all manner of fun stuff. Really? So they'll burn down the cities, but they wouldn't start a fire in the forest. And then this is the other thing, right? The thought police, the fact checkers, yeah, they try to tell you that, oh, it's global warming. And oh, here's the other thing I have to point out is that I've been doing some research and reading, and I have discovered that, you know what the average IQ is out there? Average, 85. That should explain everything. So they see the west coast of the United States on fire. They see that the fires do not extend very much into Canada or Mexico. Where do the Democrat states, where are the states that actually have been blue forever? And it's Washington, Oregon, and California. What states are on fire? Oh yeah, Washington, Oregon, and California. And then they try to tell you it's global warming. And do you believe it? These people, okay, first off, China. China has, and if you take a look at it, J.P. Morgan. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Can I do both? I don't think I can do both because the camera. Hey you, I'm making a video right now. This is Fiji, by the way. And anyway, they not can see you, but but I was gonna say it's super simple. All you're going to do is have that stuff sent to Hawaii, and then I'll just send it to you DHL. So just renew as usual and have the card sent here, and then I'll just put it in an envelope. It'll probably cost 30 or 50 bucks or whatever the fuck it is, and then we'll send it down to Fiji. No problem. Okay. That's why I was calling. Okay. All right. Talk to you later. Okay, have fun. Okay, bye. And this is the thing. Fiji... And let's see, that was just talking to Fiji. Earlier, I was just talking to, and did that work? Did my camera go off? Anyway, so two cameras at the same time, right? Because they usually say, oh, your camera's being used by another device. But anyway, but I talked to Ghana today. You know what's going on in Fiji? Nothing. That's what's going on in Fiji. They would never know that the Rona was there because they're just living life like they normally would live. They started down with some lockdowns and so forth, and then the people just said no. And you can't fly there at the moment. And if you're in Fiji, you can't fly out unless you got a private jet or something. But other than that, they don't notice that anything's happening. Just like we're supposed to be in this pandemic for 6 months, plandemic. And how many people do you know are sick? Right? I have this lung thing going on right now, but that's because, and today, oh man, yes, I took a bath after I did my video. I felt so much better. But this morning, it's like, and I hope you guys don't have this experience, but, and see, let's talk about mind control and quit calling it government. It's corporation. It's the corporation, United States corporation. It's not your government. It's not the American government. There is no American government you're a part of. It's the United States Corporation. And there I did it again. Just United States Corporation. It's not the United States Corporation. It's just United States Corporation. United States Corporation is your mind control. It's set up to extract as much wealth from you as possible. They figured out that you smoking was a bad idea and it was costing them money. So they started a campaign to get you to stop smoking. But other than that, they don't give a fuck about you, right? If they figured out that seatbelts, same thing, that if you wore seatbelts, it would cost them money, there would be all kind of rules and there would be no cars with seatbelts in them, right? They don't give a fuck about you, and I don't know how it got into your head that you think that they do. But anyway, I used to smoke. Was that my idea? Was it my? I think smoke also, right? And I can tell you stories about. I haven't smoked a cigarette really, and I just was reminded 5 years ago. I had a student who got addicted to heroin, OxyContin. Thought she could smoke OxyContin, and that everything would be fine because she was all that, and that she could put it down anytime she wanted. Turns out heroin is addicting, but so is nicotine. So I picked up American Spirits, because those are the healthy cigarettes. So fucking ridiculous. Because nicotine is as difficult to get to kick as heroin, from what I understand. Somewhere in there, I don't know because I never tried heroin, but I definitely used to be addicted to nicotine. And right now, when I cough like that, if you ever partied the night before and then you didn't have cigarettes in the morning, you had to go to the store to get them because you smoked them all the night before, smoking and drinking and so forth. Then you might have that hack that I just had, that kind of dry cough that I just did. That dry cough, I haven't smoked a cigarette in at least 5 years. And before that, and that was a very short stint that I did because I was trying to show this young person that, I could put them down. And I did. I put them right back down again. I got to the point where I was actually addicted to them, right? Where, when you wake up in the morning, you want to have a cigarette. And then I put them down. Simple as that. And she was like, oh, well, those are American Spirits lights. And so I went to the yellow pack, and then I could smoke the blue packs. And I got to the point where, and even when I was doing it, I was like, I can't believe I used to do this. I used to smoke, 20 of these things or 40 of these things in an evening. That's 2 packs, right? Anyway, the hack that I have right now, it's like, it tastes like smoking cigarettes. That's how long your body will put stuff aside and, not deal with it until such time as you get your immune system or you take some herbs and other teas and so forth to get rid of it, because it has been at least 5 years since I've had a cigarette. I just realized this September I probably haven't had not even a beer this year. Certainly no hard liquor. Trying to think if I had some wine or something like that, but I don't think I even had any wine. I haven't done anything social this year because of the Rona and so on. So, and that would be the only time I would drink, because in my house, I don't have beer in my house. I don't have hard liquor in my house. I don't have wine in my house. I used to keep it there, especially if I had friends come over. You got to be able to offer them something, and usually it's of the alcoholic nature. But I haven't had any of that. So anyway, bottom line is, it's been years and years, at least 5 years since I was smoking a cigarette. And now that I did this detox, I can taste it. I can literally taste the nicotine. I can taste the tobacco. Yeah, yuck. Again, was that my idea? Did I go, gee? No. When I watched movies, John Wayne was smoking a cigarette. Bogey and Bacall, right? Because I used to watch the black and white movies, right? Anybody remember Danny Kalini's Saturday Mystery Theater or whatever the fuck it was? Anyway, and used to watch the old movies on TV when there were only 4 stations. And you had to go over to the TV to turn the channel. Actually, there were only 3 stations for the longest time, and then PBS came in. But anyway, the idea being is that everybody on the TV was cool. Smoke Dean Martin, put a martini in a cigarette, right? There used to be ashtrays in theaters. I remember ashtrays in theaters. In the armchairs, there was an ashtray there. In airplanes, there was an armchair there. Because they were selling their tobacco, because tobacco was a big industry in the United States, and they had a big advertising thing. And sure enough, advertising works, right? My son, if I do this, Winston tastes good. He can't finish it, right? But anybody in my generation knows what that is, right? And I'd walk a mile for right? I mean, all that advertising that was pumped into our heads. Did they pump multiplication tables into our heads? They pumped physics and true physics. And no, did they state capitals, history? No, none of that. But certainly enough jingles and advertising to get you to think that it was your idea to pick up a Cool or a Camel or a Marlboro or a Winston or a Lucky Strike or a Pall Mall. My grandmother used to smoke Pall Malls. Chesterfields. I remember one time at band camp, I bummed a cigarette, and the only thing this guy had was Chesterfields. And I was a cigarette smoker at the time. I smoked one of those Chesterfields, about a half of a Chesterfield, and I wound up puking. That's how nasty and harsh those things were back in the day. And these people would get to the point, just like I did, where you could smoke 10, 15, 20 of them in the evening, and you're fine. Do you understand? Gee, how come I got cancer? God is punishing me. No, dumbass. Cigarettes are bad for you. I don't care if 4 out of 5 doctors recommend, right? I mean, mind control, thought control, free your mind. You are chained to the sky. All right, but anyway, like I said, I'm not going to go into this thing, but let's see. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk about just briefly when it came to this, like I said, I wanted to talk about something else. I want to talk about the fact that the Chinese. I'm going to put some interviews down there. Jim Willie. Jim Willie in 2017 started talking about, and see, he has a market and he has a much bigger operation. And, when he does a live stream or when he does a video, it's more than 9 people watching. So when he talked about satanic pedophiles, they came down on him and ruined him. Same thing with the guys from Fulcrum News. Can't remember that guy's name. Yeah, I feel much better. But and that hot bath, made a difference. But the idea being is that if you expose these guys and see, we didn't need fact checkers, we didn't need the thought police until the truth started trickling out. Now that the truth has trickled out, I see the most, and sometimes it's the most outrageous. If you just look at it, it's a complete lie, right? The fact checkers are lying to you. One of them I just saw, and I just screenshotted it, and I can't post it anywhere because I'm banned off of every fucking thing except for this thing. And I can post on Instagram, but Instagram shows you what the fuck they want you to see, because it's also owned by Facebook. So you don't see shit on Facebook that they don't let you, right? I mean, they're letting you see whatever it is. They're letting you see whatever it is on Facebook. There is no free speech. There is no exchange of ideas. Anyway, interrupting myself. Just the point. I just want to really point this out because I saw this. If you go look it up, if you go look up this guy, Wayne Stump, who is, by the way, deceased now, you can find this letter in lots of different places. Where in a couple of them I've seen have the notary on the one side, and that's it. I specifically did this one because it has the double notary, right? So you can understand what we're talking about here. That this notary is being certified by this notary, and this notary is actually the clerk of the court, right? So you either need to have this, a county clerk in the courts for that corporation, certify that this is a notary, or you need to have the attorney general from your state or a deputy attorney general certify that this person is, with their seal, that this person is a certified notary. And the reason for that is because there's so much fraud and there's no trust in this country. So there is no trust. Lots of people will steal us, get one of these seals, and they're not notaries and that, right? And what they do is change the paperwork in your house. And a lot of times these guys are so sneaky and so they think ahead, is they'll change the joint tenants with rights of survivorship. So let's say your grandmother dies and the house is pretty much paid off, but they've changed the joint tenants with rights of survivorship to them so that when they die, they get the house, right? Because they're the joint tenant. So take a look at some of that information out there when it comes to protecting your paperwork when it comes to the house that you live in. Anyway, all right, I've talked about that already. Did you see this poll? This is 75% Trump, 11% Biden. And this is supposed to be a fairly reputable poll. If you take a look out there, even on Maui, and this is Democrat Central. You can read on Facebook and other places, people making posts that our governor is protecting us from the dirty howlies that would bring the Rona here and kill us all, right? They literally believe this shit. The mask wearing is, because see, we have a different culture here. We have an Asian culture here, heavily influenced by Asia, Filipinos, Chinese, Japanese, and obedience and obeying your mother and father is considered a virtue. The daughters that are strong-willed and so forth, like in China, fire horse, women born in the year of the fire horse, they'll fucking kill those babies because they're known for being strong-willed and maybe not obeying the father and the mother. So rather than even have the strife, they just kill the baby in the first place. Talk about left-hand path. But anyway, the idea being is that here in Hawaii, obedience is virtue, right? It's not cowardice, it's virtue. You listen to your mom and dad, right? Your mom said, and I know a lot of how, I'm the same way with my sons. I ask you to jump and your fucking response is how high, right? Not why, not when. It's right. Okay. That's the, especially Japanese culture, if you know the samurai culture, right? So it was easy for them to put it into their heads that that mask would protect them. And now that they've been doing it for months, it's a habit, right? This is mind control 101. You want to install a, for your own self, change your eating habits, for example, change your smoking. If you can quit smoking for 30 days, and then you can get to 60 days, and then you can make it to 90 days, probably you can quit smoking for the rest of your life. You probably won't come back to it. Recidivism is low. So what? They got you to wear the mask for 30 days and then 60 days. Now it's a habit. Now they will never admit that they were wrong. Get How to Win Friends and Influence People. They will never admit that they were wrong. Where did these ideas come from? China. And now the Chinese understand. Okay. Read Sun Tzu. Can China land troops on our shores? Fuck no, they can't. They know, right? The Japanese said the same thing, right? There'd be a fucking gun behind every blade of grass. There are millions. I think it, shoot, I should have looked this up before it was, but 93, 73. I can't remember what the first number was, but it's close to 100 million people with guns in this country. That is the largest standing army on the planet. We're not organized, but the idea is quantity has a quality all its own, and there is no fucking way anybody's invading this country. So what do? They got us to fight with each other, right? I just saw a video where finally in Portland, the people have had enough, and there were these Antifa or BLMers, or I don't know what they were. And do you notice the thing with the BLMers, right? The BLMers are generally white women with pink shaved heads or blue shaved heads or green shaved heads. They ain't black folk. Black folk ain't burning down their own damn buildings anymore, right? They understand the fact that this is not helping, right? Burning down grandma's liquor store or burning down the the produce store or the whatever the hell it is, that doesn't help the community, right? You have a right to peacefully protest, but when you start burning shit down, and this is the other thing, if they will burn down their towns and cities, do you not think they will do arson just like they did in freaking Australia? Right, we've got case after case, and see, the thought police and the mind controllers are trying to say there's nobody being arrested for arson. If you will take a look and get off of the fucking mainstream media, you will see that there are huge numbers of people being arrested for arson in the United States. Right? And where are they? Where are all the fires? On the West Coast, Oregon, Washington, California. Now, it serves multiple purposes, because understand there's more than one thing here going on, always, right? There's always multiple agendas going on. One of the things, because there's going to be high-speed rail between Seattle and San Diego eventually, and lo and behold, on some of the proposed routes, those are where the fires are. Also, the fact that it's demoralizing. And here's another thing, as I talk about, you can't tell these fucking mind-washed weebs a fucking thing with their 85 average IQ, right? The average IQ has dropped to 85. Used to be 100. Right? This explains everything. So now the 85 IQ individual, mouth-breathing mask wearer, ask them, is that mask protecting you from the smoke in San Francisco or up there in Petaluma? Love Petaluma. Love that place. That place was so awesome. How about Marin? How about LA? How about that? Because you see all the pictures of the people, right, with the orange skies, and it's just freaking Armageddon. Biblical, right? They told you it would be biblical, and they are fulfilling their own prophecies. But the idea being is, does that mask protect you from the smoke? No, it doesn't. So particle of smoke, I'm drawing not the scale, but this is to give you the idea. Particle of smoke, virus. Okay, maybe not that. Like that. Okay, there you go. And then hole in your mask, right? So if it does not keep out the smoke, and it doesn't, if you're just wearing one of those masks and it's smoky, it's not going to protect you. So how is it fucking keeping out the virus, which is that many, many, many times smaller than smoke particles and dust particles, right? The particulate matter that's in the air. Ask your idiot friends to answer that question for you. the mask wearers. And now I'm starting to see in Newsweek and other places that those people that don't want to wear masks are basically psychopaths. Right? Thought police, right? Putting it in the eyes. Oh, they're not, right? They're trying to kill grandma. They must be crazy if they don't put their mask on. Right? That's not their idea. That was told to them. Right? Get it into your head. Government is mind control. That's what the words mean. Right? Mind control. Control mind. It is there, and it's not the American government. That's starting to piss me off, especially now that I've woken up a little bit more and started to look at more paperwork and starting to get some verification that, yeah, some of this stuff is not just crazy talk. It's not the American government. It's United States Corporation, period. And you are chattel property to United States Corporation. Yeah, there you go. About half the fucking firearms on the planet are in the United States. Yeah, Americans. Okay, cool. I hope you're reading some of this. It says, see, and when you guys comment over here, after the thing's over, cut and paste your comments underneath so that other people can read them. Because a lot of times when you watch this afterwards, all your comments, and sometimes they're good comments over here, I get information from them and go do some research. And then that's what I was going to talk about. Let's use this as a group. There's 9 of you guys here. 9 minds better than 1 mind. Let's take a look. Did the Chinese start buying into JP Morgan and our big bankers? And have the Chinese been buying into Wall Street? Have the Chinese been doing things like picking up senators, right? Our senators are cheap, picking up members of the House because we have this Politburo thing going on. This is never the way it was supposed to be set up, where we have a few hundred people in DC controlling this huge nation of 331 million people. So what do the Chinese do if you're smart? Well, you buy a few senators, you buy a few congressmen, congresspersons, and yeah, you shift the policy and make things right, because Sun Tzu will tell you, you want to make it appear that if you are few, then you want to make it appear that you are many. If you are many, you want to make it appear that you are few. Subterfuge and deception is the art of war. Ask the Mossad, right? By deception, thou shalt do war. That's how you make war, is with deception. So they have deceived us into fighting with each other, right? And I saw, this is the most terrible thing recently. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, ugh, and on the other hand, those are your countrymen, right? But there are these, there's some videos floating around on Instagram, and again, they're letting you see that so that you'll get riled up, so that you'll go fight with each other, right? You ain't seeing nothing on Instagram that they don't want you to see. But the idea is that these Proud Boys, or I don't know, Trumpers, or I don't know what, but people that are fucking sick to death of these fucking BLMers and Antifa guys burning their city and burning their town and breaking windows and pulling down statues and all that kind of stuff. Basically, they had a little demonstration and they got overwhelmed. And I mean, these guys were getting beat. And one of them, literally on the ground, cowering, and guys punching on him, and other guys, show mercy, pulling him off, right? See, because when you get angry, right, anger leads to hate. All right, well, first, fear, anger, hate, that Yoda will tell you leads to the dark side, right? Leads to the left-hand path. Once the guy's on the ground, quit hitting him, right? That's just fighting 101 among men with their chivalry. When the guy's on the ground, curled up in a ball, I don't care if he's Antifa or BLM or stop hitting him, right? And then, send them on their merry way. But anyway, this guy literally, I'm sorry. Well, a little late, motherfucker. Right? Shouldn't have been there in the first place. But they're loving it that Americans, right? Well, U.S. persons and U.S. persons are fighting with U.S. persons. You're not fucking Americans. You're U.S. persons, right? When we return, when you guys decide to wake the fuck up, you guys are going to figure out that as long as we're fighting with each other, they don't care, right? Because what they've done, and who's the they I'm talking about? Maybe you figure out who the they is, and I'll put a video down there. Jim Willie has made some great comments, and you decide how much of what he says is true. He talked about cloning. and that we've had clone. I mean, Dolly the sheep. They gave you notice in numerous movies about the fact that there were clones. There are clones, and it's pretty clear. They're close, but they're no. And if you pay attention and you look carefully, you can see that it's like this, right? Copy of a copy. Gets a little difficult to read this shit after you copy it so many times, right? So it starts to get. I can still do it, and this helps a lot. But the idea being is that when you make a copy of a copy, things are off, and then you get guys like the Biden thing, and you get the Hillary thing, and then you that one scene that was a little disturbing where they basically just picked this thing up and threw it in the and it was supposed to be Hillary to lift a shoe on the thing. Remember that when they were throwing her in the van. And if you take a look at Biden, if you take a look at Zuckerberg, if you take a look at a few of these people, just look with a open and free mind. Something's off. I'm not saying what's off, and I'm not saying that Jim Willie's right and that these are clones. I'm saying something ain't right. Right? And you know in your heart, something ain't right. And what they're trying to do is foment a get us to fight with each other so that they don't have to fight with us. That's as simple as that. So that we can't focus on them. And then other things where what's on this planet? Humans are on this planet. Men and women are on this planet. It's a farm. That's clear to me now. But the idea is go to Southeast Asia. Yeah, I'm going to draw it. Fuck, not even close. We'll do that. And then down here. Okay, so over here, and you got oh, that's not too bad. This is supposed to be my horrifyingly bad quick map of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. Right? They got all kind of lines on the map, and I've been there, and very difficult to tell them people apart. I'm not being racist. You know, these guys over here, like I can tell the difference between China and Vietnamese, right? Or Thai people, as they say, right? Thailand. Where a Chinese person and Thai people, they don't look like Thai women, don't look like Chinese women. Cambodians, though, look like Laotians and look like Vietnamese a lot of times, right? But give them different languages. And then inside the countries, they'll make divides. So you got the North and the South fighting with each other, or maybe you got one religion or another fighting. They're the same fucking people, but they get control of their minds, right? Here in the United States. Oh, another place you can go, and I have traveled there, south of our border, Belize, Mexico, especially Yucatan, and Guatemala, and let's just leave those three, and Costa Rica, and one more down there. But anyway, those countries right there, they just drew some lines. They're all the same people. They're descended from the Maya people. They look very similar when it comes to the quote unquote native people, right? The Maya people. Because you got to understand they're segregated down there also, because you got the Negro also Spaniards, and then the white ones that are the Blanco, that's a lot more Spanish looking, and then they're all mestizos, but there's which is mixed with the Indians, and then Spanish, because unlike the English, who were much more erudite and certainly wouldn't breed with these savages, right, with their what's the word I'm looking for, eugenics. They weren't going to mix their blood, right? So, but the Spaniards had no such problem mixing their blood with the Inca people and the Maya people and so forth. But anyway, the idea being is that them is the same folks also. And what they did, and numerous people have pointed this out, is they drew some lines on a map, and then they get you to fight with each other. Oh, I'm Guatemalan. Oh, I'm Mexican. Oh, I'm right. But same fucking people. And then inside the countries, South America, exactly, like Colombia and Peru and Venezuela and so forth, they get factions inside the countries. So now you got the inside of the countries fighting with each other. And then, sometimes they'll unite against each other. But you don't really see countries down there having wars with each other unless they're fomented by us. I promise you, they freaking are not pleased with the great Satan down there. So like I said, when I was traveling south of our border, I was a Hawaiian. I came from Hawaii, and they didn't know that Hawaii was part of the United States because, anyway, the point being is that the point, divide and conquer is the first pony, right? Divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. The Chinese understand divide and conquer. And then above that umbrella, right? So we got the Chinese trying to divide and conquer. Really, that's it's terrible again. Anyway, that's our United States. Looks like a bad Play-Doh animal. But anyway, the Chinese. Oh, let's do this thing. All right. So China want to rule the world. Russia also want to rule the world. The communist doctrine. Us guys in the way. This corporation. And by the way, all the countries that I was just talking about, all corporations. And there's a bunch of Australians that figured out, oh, wait a minute, their country is domiciled in the District of Columbia. Check into that. Now, fact check that, right? Fact check that, motherfuckers. The fact that a lot of these corporations that we consider that we have been mind fucked into thinking are countries, they're not. They've been overlaid on the Australian continent. They've been overlaid on part of the North American continent, Canada and so forth, United States. These are fictions that are in that 10 square miles. Now, United States Corporation is the most powerful corporation on the planet. And the Chinese, so what they were doing was gutting this corporation. And China was doing it by, like I said, buying up senators, buying up Congress people, and also governors, and getting into our sports leagues. Obviously, I have some serious problems with some of our athletes, basketball players and football players, where it's so fucking obvious that they're owned by China, right? The fact that they, because they have a shoe, right? And who's that shoe fucking made by? Slaves in China, right? So these guys can, all right, so now, because they understand, the Chinese understand that we are brought up from a very early age. It's in our culture, it's in our mindset that if you're rich, right? When I have you're smart, you're good. Right? If you're poor, it's your fault, and it's because you didn't work hard, and because you're not smart, and so on. But I met some dumb motherfuckers who got money, right? I mean, like just crazily stupid people who are rich, right? But is that wealth? If you have money and you don't have any intelligence and you don't have any health. But anyway, the idea being is that these Chinese people have figured out the Chinese Communist Party, and it's not the people. I've been to China. I've been to PRC. You can. Oops, I don't have it here. I have a passport that's already pretty rare among U.S. Persons. And then in that passport is a visa for PRC. I've been there. Okay, just like us here in the United States, the Chinese people, they just want to raise their children. They just want to be left alone. They just want to be able to put a roof over their head and eat good food and have a good time, have some leisure time and party and enjoy themselves and dance and sing and so forth on the weekends. They don't hate us. We don't hate them. If you met them, you'd think that, they're generally pretty interesting and humorous people, completely different culture. But what they do is get us to hate each other and fight each other. And it's the governments of this and the government that are fighting with each other. So they were trying to take all of our manufacturing. Trump said it. And this is another thing. Last couple of Trump speeches, holy fuck, go listen to those speeches, right? When the man speaks, this is the head of this United States corporation, most powerful corporation. When the motherfucker speaks, maybe you want to hear what he has to say, just so you can govern yourself accordingly, right? Because I'm in GTFO mode. I'm looking at Africa. I'm looking at Fiji. I'm looking at various other places because, like I said, in Fiji, they're just living. In Africa and a lot of places in Africa. And see, we got this thing that like how a lot of you idiots used to think, and again, not you guys, but a lot of people used to think how in the United States, Hawaii, we were living in grass shacks and get stupid questions like, do you take American money? No, we take Federal Reserve notes just like you do, because there ain't no American money. But the idea being is that there are a lot of places in Africa. Ghana, I was just, this technology right here, just having a conversation. Lovely houses, hot and cold running water. They don't notice the Rona, right? And if you take a look, and I've seen this, this is another thing you might want to explain to your idiot Democrat, low info, 85 IQ, mouth breathing, mask wearing, fucktardian friends. Many presidents, if you go take a look, or prime ministers or whatever kind of government they had set up in Africa, as soon as they kicked the World Health Organization out, that prime minister wound up dying. Or, I was keeping track there. At one point, it was 5 of them from various different countries that had basically had the World Health Organization in there spouting their Rona bullshit. And see that one guy, he was a chemist or I can't remember. He wasn't, not like our guys where all of in the United States, for the most part, it's lawyers. In many other countries, it's engineers, it's doctors, and so forth. They rise up to become leaders of their countries. So anyway, this guy, that's the one that tested a goat and a piece of fruit, and they all came back for Rona. This is the other thing, speaking about that. But he knew it was a farce and a joke, and a lot of the Africans figured out that it was a farce and a joke well ahead of United States persons. But they were retaliated against and paid for with their lives. But the thing is that many people in the country understood that this is what happened, right? So it didn't go as well as they wanted it to. So yeah, but they understand. You shut the one guy up, and you can often get the other ones to follow. But more and more, as the awakening happens, the awakening is happening for sure. It's not scaring people. It's not putting them back in the pen. It's pissing them off, right? More and more. So they losing their grip, and they know they're losing their grip. The great awakening is happening. The transition from Piscean to Aquarian is happening, and there's no stopping it. Further, the military tribunals are coming. Once you start understanding this system that they have, and you understand that, yeah, most of your people in government, they know about the dual world that I've been telling you about, that the world is split into, and that there are the secured third-party creditors, and then there's you debt slaves, you bonded slaves, you guys that don't even know you have bonds. Every time they do a treasury auction, that's you. They're writing fucking bonds on you, right? $5,000 a person pretty much every month. Times that by 300 million. Okay, and now the Federal Reserve is just buying up their own debt. We used to sell it to the Chinese. The Chinese were buying up our bonds. What bonds are? It's you that's bonded. And you don't know it. And when you try to claim the bonds, and this is the thing that's happened, right? The Treasury Direct Service says, we don't know what you're talking about. You can't claim these bonds. So they've changed the procedures. Again, oh, darn it. It's the Redemption Manual 4.5, I believe. And there might be a Redemption Manual 5.0 by this point. But Chained to the Sky, and start reading that stuff. 600 and something pages. 682 pages, I believe it is. And then the back of it is a glossary of terms, right? Legal definitions and so on. But the idea being is, I don't have time to read that. You got time to fucking watch sports? You know the fucking name of the quarterbacks on, right? Kansas City Chiefs. Who's the quarterback? Right? Miami Dolphins. Who's the fucking quarterback? Okay, you know that shit, but you don't know anything about your status and how to change it, right? So the idea being is that maybe you spend the time learning these things, and then once you learn these things, this doesn't sound like crazy talk to you anymore. You understand that they're vying for control of dominion on the planet. What system is going to rule? There is a very scary, ugly system that they had planned to put in place. And still remains to be seen how far they go. But a new world order is absolutely being placed upon us. So does that new world order use gold and silver, or does that new world order use the mark of the beast, wherein you have to use some kind of digital currency? And think about digital currency. What if there's no electricity? Can you transact? Do you remember when Enron, and see, they lied to you about that, totally fucked California, and there were rolling blackouts in California, and you could go to the mall, but you couldn't buy nothing because they couldn't transact, because their cash registers didn't work, and they didn't have the accounting or the ability to use a regular cash register that wasn't hooked into the system with the computers and so forth, so right in the inventory control and all that kind of stuff. So while the power was out, you couldn't buy nothing. Right? You walk into a mall, and first off, it'd be freaking hot in there. And second off, because the air conditioning isn't working because the power is out. And second off, there's no lights. And third off, you can't buy anything. So they would basically just close up their doors until such time as the power came back. You remember that? That was a little taste of what can happen if the people allow them to, right? The thought is put in your mind, wouldn't it be cool if we had digital currency? Right? This is what's coming, guys. So you guys got to decide, all of us together. And for the most part, you can see it takes a long time to get any kind of consensus together. Like how 107 days of rioting and looting, and finally, some of the people in Oregon decide, "Fuck this, we've had enough." And could Trump have just walked in? Nope, he has to be invited by the governor or the mayor. And in those same states, again, Washington, Oregon, California, now their forests are on fire. And they they telegraph that, where they told you they're coming for the country folk. You thought they were going to come down there with guns or placards and signs and walk into the small towns. No, 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 no. That's not what they're going to do. They came with matches and gasoline and lighters. And now your forests are on fire. Now the air is thick with smoke, right? This is war, my friends. If you haven't figured it out, we are fucking at war. This is going to be the first election in the history of the nation where we don't have a smooth transition of power. It's going to be contested. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Trump has 75 and Biden has 11. They own the media, and they're going to try and tell you that 11 actually was the greater of it. And see, people that are voting for Trump, yay, they're not voting for the total evil of the left-hand path, but at the same time, you need to wake up to the fact that Trump is there to get you to be part of those who need representation in Congress, representation in courts, right? If you can't afford the representation, they will put somebody there to represent you. And that person is 100%, as many patriots and others figured out, in cahoots with the judge and the prosecutor to extract as much wealth out of you as possible. Right? They're not going to let you represent yourself unless you've done your paperwork in advance. Right? And there's been plenty of times where the guy stands up and says, "I don't want this guy." Well, look, chattel slave. Look, slave. You don't get it. You don't have the ability to represent yourself. You don't have the ability to say no to the public defender. Right? The whole system is there to extract wealth from you. I went back and I was looking at that Fiji Builders Club video that I did that's gone. I have it on hard drive, but there's too many errors and there's too many fuck ups in there, and I need to go remake that. But again, in 1820s, early 18th century, that would be 19th century, 1800s, they were absolutely on a binge going around the world using the Red Cross and that Bible to set up a system of Babylonian money magic, of courts and churches and all that kind of. What's the first things they did here on Maui? Build churches. What's the first, right? And then came courts, and then came the fact that you couldn't barter anymore, and you couldn't, right? These people were happy. They worked a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, and they had everybody fed. And right, okay, can't have that. Same thing going on in Fiji right now. They are trying to get the Fiji people to change from the system that they've had, the tribal system, wherein villages have a central marketplace and they trade among each other. They use, of course, the Fiji dollar. But I've also seen with my own eyes, because I spent a lot of time in that marketplace, because I was, and this is in on the second island, Vanua Levu, not Fiji, Vitu Levu, but the second island, so it's smaller. It's kind of like if you've been to Hawaii, Oahu and Maui, right? So I was on in that same situation, the second island, not the main island that had the capital and the most population, the second island over. And it's a lot slower and paradise, it really is. But the idea is that the villagers come together and they'll take, of course, money, and they'll even take American dollars, some of them. But a lot of times you got fish, I got taro, that's straight. You got various vegetables and herbs and so forth, bok choy and other vegetables and so on. And I want taro, or I want dalo is what they call it, or I want breadfruit, or I want maybe I want something sweet like mangoes and so on. They trade direct, no cash changes hands, right? Oh, they hate that, right? Barter is the money of peasants, right? They're still peasants over there. They're still tribal people over there. Us, on the other hand, we slaves, and we hate to admit it. We have been put in our minds constantly that we are free people, and we're so free we can put our children in the military and they can go out and fight in wars. Look, you wouldn't be free, right? They have guns and they drive tanks and stuff like that. We wouldn't be, right? We can't be enslaved. We're free. How about we think about that just a fucking little bit? All right, so the idea being is that, again, gold, money of kings, silver, money of gentlemen, barter, money of peasants, debt, and that's all we have here in United States corporation is debt. Those FRNs, those Federal Reserve notes, the thing that you consider money, which is not money, see? And that's what I wanted to talk about also. You call a thing by different names, and it confuses us to hell, right? To the point where we get so confused we can't even figure out what the fuck's going on. So aspartame now has numerous names. MSG now has numerous names, right? In fact, there's 40 different names on a label for MSG. It's still MSG. Just because you call me one thing doesn't make me that thing. But if you don't know that, and if you acquiesce, and if you put your signature on that, yeah, that's me. Right? That driver's license, or that birth certificate for sure, or that mortgage. Oddly enough, this thing is making it hard for me to make certain syllables. It's interesting. And like I said, right there, ugh, I haven't had a cigarette for days. That's tobacco. That is absolutely nicotine and ugh. Anyway. And see, it needed to come out. It's been in there for years. And I should have done it more slowly. Should have been a little more gentle with myself. But, you know, like I said, I have other things, and I've showed them to you before. Turmeric is important. Black seed oil, right? Nigella sativa, find out about that stuff. It's shit's magic. The Prophet Muhammad told you that is the cure for everything but death. And I've seen it. I've used it in my sinuses, and my allergies have pretty much gone away. My son's, well, actually the older boy in particular, the younger boy not so much, allergies, right? And it burns, make no mistake, it burns when you put it in there. But after 90 days of using that twice a day, or 2 or 3 times a day, 1 or 2 drops only, I don't have hardly any allergies. And ask any of my friends. I had a horrible allergies growing up. And of course, what did my mom do? Because she was mind controlled, is give them shots. And you know, it came from multiple dose vials, and multiple dose vials in that time absolutely positively had thimerosal in there. And what thimerosal? No, that's mercury, right? And you can say whatever the fuck you want. It's right. So call it by different names, and us slaves get confused. So call your money, which is debt, money. It's not money, it's currency. And Mike Maloney has many videos on that. And yeah, I absolutely, positively recommend you watch all of his whole series on money, and then subscribe to his channel. Mike knows what the fuck he's talking about. I met that guy at a silver summit in Idaho. When was that? Or maybe it was 2000. I can't remember. Anyway, say many moons ago. 2005, 2006, maybe? Or maybe it was, I don't remember. Anyway, but they used to have silver summits in Idaho, and it was cool because you could talk to all these various CEOs of silver mining companies, and people like, Peter Schiff were there, and people like Mike Maloney were there, and anybody, David Morgan, the Magambo, see, I can't do it. It's odd. Magambo Guru, that guy's freaking hilarious. I have pictures with him up there in Idaho. Anyway, but the idea being is that this is not money. It is the opposite of money. It's debt. It's just currency. And it's currency backed by nothing but the faith and our minds, because it has no intrinsic value, which is why there's a coin shortage. Because even the coins, even the slugs, even the freaking quarters, and go look on Coinbase.com. You can look up melt weight for coins. Even Google will show you that. It has some actual value because it's an actual, right? It's not just a piece of paper. Metals, you got to get it out of the ground. You got to turn it into a coin. So I mean, the thing actually has some value. Nickels are actually worth nickels. Pennies before 1982 used to be, right, 100 of those things worth about $1. What was $1? It's go back and look at the Organic Constitution for United States of America, and it tells you, not United States Corporation, United States of America. In that Constitution, it tells you what are, right, first off, that you shall make nothing but gold and silver. Well, that's out the window, obviously. But what was it? $20 was what they valued 1 ounce of gold, and $1 was basically 1 ounce of silver. except our coins were 90%. But anyway, I'm not going to get into the gory details. But the idea being is that 20 of those silver ones was worth one of the gold ones, and 100 of the copper ones was worth one of the silver ones. We had honest weight and measure. United States Corporation has destroyed all of that, right? Because they've been taken over by the bankers who are Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve seems to be very much had been taken over, and many of the banks and Wall Street have been infiltrated by China. Not Russia, not Brazil, not Britain, not the Pope in Italy, China. And what they were going to do is get control of the military arm of the trifecta, which was Britain, right? City of London, Rome, well, actually not even Rome, Vatican, DC. And that's them. See, and it comes in three. See, even I talk about left-hand path and right-hand path, and I've had people tell me, what about the middle way? I can't argue the point. I choose right-hand path. But yeah, somewhere between right-hand path and left-hand path lies the truth, right? And that's why you see many, many of the Asians, once again, talk about the middle path, right? You are neither this nor that, right? Look up in the old non-canon books that the Romans took out of our King James Version, Thomas. 42. Read it. That's what you must become, the passerby. You look at what's going on. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Look at what's going on. Oh, yeah, that's great. And neither one affects you. Like I said, I'm looking at Fiji very much because a woman I like very much is in Fiji, and there's land there. And unlike us slaves over here who think we're so fucking free, if I buy a piece of property down there that's freehold, I own it. There's no tax on it, and I don't ask anybody for permission to build any fucking thing on that piece of land. And right here, my landlord trying to build some walls. He needs permits, and the county ain't giving him permits, so construction has come ground to a halt just to put a wall up. And why do they get money? Right? Because you got to pay. Those permits aren't free, right? They got you so mind fucked, it's crazy, right? You U.S. persons. So yeah, and same thing, Ghana and Niger and oh crap, I can't remember the name of the countries. Namibia, that's it. Like I said, this technology is all because of the math and all because of tutoring and so forth. But I mean, I talk to these places. I don't just don't just read about them or watch videos. I have people there that I know that I can talk to using this technology. Again, yeah, you own the land. You don't ask anybody permission. They don't tax you. I mean, anyway, but our system's better, right? America is the greatest thing going, right? And again, it's not America. See, they got me mind controlled. It's United States Corporation, right? America is this other thing. And the American Republic, the United States of America, the Republic, the de jure government, that was set up by Masons. It's a private club, and they don't want you in it. They want you being a U.S. person, chattel property, owned by the bankers. The numbers on your birth certificate will tell you what bank owns you, and you is owned. Make no fucking mistake. You think you're a free man, you're dreaming. Until such time as you do certain paperwork and inform certain people and stand up and be counted, you ain't free by any stretch of the imagination, and you are not part of United States of America, right? The United States of America is this whole other thing, and you'd like to be part of that, I think. A lot of people would like to be part of the United States of America. It comes with many, many rights, inalienable rights that are protected under the Constitution, right? They recognize the fact that the corporation didn't give you a fucking thing. Those rights were given to you by God Almighty, right? Not by a corporation. Okay, now, a large percentage believe that there is no God. They're God Almighty. That's fucking 100 monkeys just talking shit, right? Okay, they got you, right? Oh, and I wouldn't want to offend my friends by gender. Can't even do it. Anyway, so we're just all persons. Oh, great, 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 great. Person is a legal word that you don't fucking understand, right? So you're not a man or a woman anymore. You are a person. Great, great. They love you. They love it when you do shit like that, right? And as long as you're going to argue, oh, gender is a mental construct. I was just doing more work with a couple of people. Try to understand that women, they have a body that can create fat cells. Men, not so much. That's just one thing, and that's 100% on depending on your gender. Women do not have penises. There is no fucking male vagina, and there is no female penis. You fucking idiots, right? It's not a mental construct. You come in two forms generally, and then of those two forms, up here you can make your difference where man wants to be with a man or a woman wants to be with a woman, or you want to be man or woman. Right, that comes here. But the physical person, there's this and there's this, and some people have this and this, right? But that's extremely rare to the point of it shouldn't be in the conversation. But the point being is that they get control of your mind. They get you to use words you don't understand that have legal definitions and legal designations, and they get you to fuck yourself. Right? Just this whole Rona thing was them tricking you into fucking yourself. You fucked your economy. They didn't fuck your economy, right? The economy was already pretty fucked, but the pin, and actually it was more of a sewing needle than a pin into this inflated, ridiculous economy that we had, where the stock market is in a bubble that's unbelievable. Real estate is in a bubble that's unbelievable. They're printing dollars. I mean, it's just insane. I'll leave some links below the amount of dollars that are printed. Now that we've been locked down for so long in this state, many people are predicting, think about this. I mean, just sit back and meditate and try not to hyperventilate. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine, promise. But at the same time, the ramifications of a 50% to 85%, and then 50% to 95%. This already happened in Japan. This isn't theory. This is what happened. But the real estate market crashing in the United States to the point. Now they're trying to tell me, and I'm hoping this is the case, but I don't. It's hope. It's not. Hopium is a very strong drug in and of itself. But this is residential and this is commercial. I believe that what they're doing, and see, this is my belief. I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying this is what I think. Is that what they had done is decided to take our real estate, and because that's one of the backbones of economies anywhere, is property. 95% reduction in the price, and then they come in and buy it for 5% of what it was worth. Right. So, and I'm talking about cities like Chicago and Los Angeles and New York for sure, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Paul, all these different cities that have been gutted. That real estate is going to be pennies on a dollar, and they're going to swoop in and buy it up, just like they did to my family back in 1930s, right? The 29 crash and so forth, stole all their farms, stole their land, and they knew it. That's why I have family that doesn't look like me at all in a place called Lithuania, because my grandfather was one of two, and the grandfather that I'm related to stayed in the United States, and his brother said, fuck this, and went back to Lithuania, right? Why? Because all the shit that he came with and worked to build up and so forth was stolen from him, the same way so many of your friends are seeing everything that they spent a lifetime working for being stolen from them in 1 year, 2020. Right, where they lose their business, where they lose everything. This is all 100% by design. And Trump overseen it all. Ain't your friend. Want you to be one that needs representation. Want you to sign up to register to vote. Do not want you getting out from becoming a third-party secured creditor, becoming a American, not a, right, and a national, not a U.S. person. Right, U.S. persons have civil rights, not inalienable rights, which can obviously be taken away from you at the whim of a governor. Anyway, 85% reduction in residential real estate. That means, can you do the math? I'm just going to do round numbers. A shit house in Pukalani that is now $750K is going to be worth about 112K. And some change. It's like 112, 250, right? There's 85% reduction. I'm doing the math in my head quick. But anyway, do you understand how much equity is going to be lost there? Right? I mean, just sit back, and that's not just going to be one or two houses. That's going to be many, many houses. We have no economy here anymore. Our economy, we had hitched our economy, right? We hitched the wagon to the tourist economy. All the hotels, I mean, all of our beaches are covered with hotels that are empty right now. So all the hotels drove all the business because the tourists would come here and we would tax the fuck out of them. We'd give them hotel room tax. We'd give them rental car tax. We'd give them 4% sales tax, tax on the tax. We would fuck you if you came here to visit Hawaii. And redistribute, right? That's revenue, right? Revenue. That's how we made revenue in this state and paid for all of our crazy programs where everybody had healthcare and everybody, right? Okay. We stole money from you when you came here to visit our lovely state. Simple as that. Well, ain't nobody coming to visit our state anymore. Hardly. Very, very few. Most of our hotels are empty. Hawaiian Airlines, 2,100 employees going to get they've gone from furlough to fired. Hyatt Regency, I mean, name it. All the different big hotels, Sheraton, and all the different hotels now gone. All right. What did those tourists do? They made a lovely place on Maui called Front Street where you could get fine art, beautiful art, from beautiful artists from all over the world would sell art here. Gone. All of those things are the same thing in New York, Soho, right? Fucking cops that choked a man out for selling cigarettes without tax on them. That was the thing. It was a tax, right? They will kill you for any fucking thing, slave. Right? Stood by and they killed that guy for trying to make a buck selling cigarettes. But the guys that were burning down Soho and burning down the art galleries and went in there, what did the cops do? Stood there and fucking watched. And these are the same stop and frisk motherfuckers. See, I am torn when it comes to the defund the police thing. I am no fan of any fucking police officer anywhere, hardly at all. And I grew up with many of them. Many of my classmates, so forth, from the public schools were policemen or ACOs at the prisons or sheriffs. In fact, one of my good friends, well, it's not a good friend, was a good friend when we were little, but we kind of lost track of each other over the years. But now he's a sergeant in the sheriff's department. Right? Okay. This, right? And if you don't think he knows about this, anyway, he does. He wasn't going to tell me though. But anyway, the idea is that these are some good men, but at the same time, they're in a system that makes it's impossible for them to do good in a system that's controlled by you. But the idea is that the Nazis did the exact fucking same thing. They defunded the police, put their brown shirts in. Obama was telling you that we need a force that's a civilian force. Under whose control? Doing what? Breaking windows and burning down businesses. And meantime, the cops stand there. Like I don't call the cops. Right? I've been in brawls and all manner of stuff, and sometimes I took the shitty end of the stick, and sometimes I gave better night, whatever. But ain't nobody calling the cops. Right? When I was a younger drinking idiot person. The father of my girlfriend told his wife 3 guys jumped him. It was just me. But the idea is we didn't call the cops. Nobody called the cops. Right? Nobody called the police. I've had the police called on me, but I don't call the police. But see, that's not everybody. Right? If you're a woman with a young child, maybe you want to be able to get on the phone if somebody's fucking breaking into your house because you ain't got a gun and you don't have any murderous attitude. Right, you're going to be taken advantage of. So yeah, I have, like I said, mixed feelings. But we need a police force. Right, it keeps quote unquote order. And I know many of these guys. I go to parties, and these are like because of the business I'm in. I got invited to a lovely Christmas party, and everybody there was a fireman or a policeman because they all know each other. Right, and I sat down and talked story with these guys. I was talking about oaths of office and some of my adventures with the IRS and so on and so forth, and some of the stuff that I've been talking about here. And at that time I'm going to say 15% of where I am right now, right? Understanding this game that we're in, because I hadn't read Chained to the Sky and I hadn't read, Redemption Manual. What's that? right? I got somebody asked me a question like, oh, where do I start? I'm not telling you where to start. That's way the fuck above my pay grade, right? But there's paperwork to be done. There's letters to be written, and there's people to be notified. You need to figure out what the fuck to say, what the words mean, and who to say it to, and how to say it. And that's the thing. Once you figure out what to say and who to say it to, they will change the procedure, which is why it's Redemption Manual 4.5, because there was I remember Redemption Manual 2.0, actually, because people started figuring out how to claim their bonds. People started figuring out that a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about isn't crazy talk. It's the actual system that we're in. So as soon as you figure the system out a little bit, they change the system. Because like I said, they don't want you in the club. You ain't in the Brotherhood. And if you are in a Brotherhood, then that's a whole other thing, right? If you go to the lodge and pay your dues and diligently study, all the information that I'm talking about is spoon-fed to you as you get up your degrees of Mason. You think Gregory Menorino doesn't know about this? He's a 30-fucking-second degree Mason. I have another friend, he's a 33rd degree Mason. We have interesting conversations. But even in those degrees, there's 33-degree Masons that have all, it's like Boy Scout badges that have all the, and there's other ones that don't, right? But I mean, and once you get into that 33rd degree, it turns dark, let's put it that way, from what I understand. But the idea being is that this thing is not bullshit. It exists, and you need to understand that they don't want you in the club. All of the people that set up United States of America, the United States of America, the Republic that you think you're a citizen of, they're all Masons. George Washington, Jefferson, all of them, Thomas Paine, Ben Franklin, name them. They're all Masons. Now, go back. Kerry, Mason. Bush. So Bush and Kerry, both Skull and Bones, both Masons. And if you watch the interviews, when people tried to ask them a little bit about it, they clammed up. Right? And they made jokes about it and try to make it sound like, no. They control us, slaves. They control this. And once they figured out a long time ago right? So they spent trillions. Remember on September 10th, Rumsfeld came out because they had to tell you, right? By the way, $2.3 trillion missing. Right? Mathematics is the problem. Fucking people can't do mathematics, can't logic and reason. You got 85 IQs. Yeah. 2.3. That's 2,300. Oh, look, we've gone up by another factor. What is that? That's 2 million. Oh, look, I'm out of space, so I'm going to move this way. 3, 6. Trillions of dollars. All right. If you take a billion. Oh, wait. Just like when I teach little kids about the names of the numbers. 1,000. Oh, look, now it's 1 million. And usually I do it this way, right? 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Never gets past 9. 100,000, million. All right. 1,000 times 1,000. Right? Now, I got to take billion. Let's go this way. And multiply it 1,000 fucking times to get to a trillion. 1,000 billions. Do you know how much they can do with that kind of money? You can build entire cities on other planets. You can build direct energy weapons. Like I said, we wouldn't know. I see, because some of that stuff in California, I believe, and I don't know this, but I know for a fact that you can get on the internet. Even Google will show you that they have mounted directed energy weapons that they've been working on for quite some time. Back when I was, let's not go there, but in the 80s, they were working on this technology. But the idea is that, yeah, now they got it mounted on drones. Now they got it mounted on stealth bombers and other things is one of the things. They got rockets and other, machine, but they also have that. It looks like a little laser pen, and point it down and focus it. And you wouldn't know a directed energy weapon if, right? But I mean, if you've got $2.3 trillion, do you think you could design a directed energy weapon that works? What do you think? Did you need all 2.3 trillion, or maybe just 5 billion, or maybe 100 billion, or maybe 500 billion? 500 billion, 500 billion. You still got plenty left over out of 2.3 trillion, and that's just that was back 19 years ago. What do you think they've done since then in money that's missing? Where I was going to go with this before I went to that is, do you think they can do all manner of nefarious MK Ultra and other studies that figure out just exactly how this fucking thing works and how to program it? If you don't, you're fucking stupid. Right? They know how your brain works better than you do. And I can already tell you that I can tell you studies that I've read and anyway, the idea that these people have figured out they can program you to the point where they know where you're going to be better than you are, better than you do. They did this with college students, where they had them fill out surveys and where they were going to be on the weekends and so forth, and then they had their data from their phones and other data from their computers and so forth, but definitely that phone, which you won't leave. That's a collar. You won't leave the house without it. I don't even have one anymore. I used to love that technology. I was one of the first guys on Maui to have a cell phone and all, and then I started figuring out, they twisted that technology too. And see, this is the fun thing. I don't have a cell phone, and yet I'm over at a friend's, and they recognize this voice as a signature, right? It's a certain frequency that they can recognize and identify. I'm over at a friend's house, pretty far away from here, and very far away from this computer, talking about gardening and various equipment. And I did an experiment, and yes, it all started showing up in my Facebook feeds and so forth. But anyway, I was talking about grafting and knowing how to graft and all the different kind of stuff about grafting. All right, I have no cell phone, but the person that I was talking to had Alexa and definitely had her cell phone sitting on the counter. And I come home, what's the first fucking thing that shows up on my scroll? This cool thing for grafting. All right. The idea is that, and then a bunch of stuff for grafting. Then there's this other thing that you can use the clip that'll make it so that you get, here's the branch, and then, oops, like this. Here's the branch, and then this device does this, and then it makes the other part of the branch like that, and then you can stick them together and tape them, right? All right. Anyway, it's a little device that does this for you. And then there was this other thing when it comes to grafting where it's like this little plastic ball thing that you put it in there around the plant, if it's a plant that you can plant by slip. And it's like this little thing you clip together and you put dirt in there, and then you clip, and then after a while, when you open it up and you can see that there's all roots in there, then you can clip it over here. Now you got a little root ball and you can plant the thing. All right. Cool. They were making my internet experience better, but how did they know that I was interested in grafting stuff? Oh, because they can recognize the sound of my voice. They can figure out from your profile everything that you do on this computer. They know what kind of porn you like. They know what kind, right? They know how you like to fuck. They know what kind of food you like to eat. They know if you prefer sugar or honey. They know if you like meat or a vegetarian. They know every fucking thing about you. And a lot of that information you've given to them, right? You've taken part in surveys. What kind of potato am I? If I was a souffle, what kind of souffle would I be? I mean, right? And they get you to rank in order. I've seen this on Facebook and Instagram and so forth. What would you rather have? If you, okay, here's 4 different foods. If one had to go, which one would you do without? They know more about your fucking brain than you do. And they know how to put shit into your brain, below your consciousness, because they had trillions and trillions of fucking dollars to do it with. Study after study in our universities, right? The worst things that you can run across on this planet, there are 3. A mathematician without morals, a chemist without morals, a physicist without morals. And they find those guys that all it is about money. Money, right? From the time you're a Puritan thing, right? If you have money, you're smart and wise. If you don't have money, you're poor. If you don't have money, you may not be able to feed yourself. If you don't have money, you're shit, right? You can't get fucked. You can't get laid. You can't get a car to go get laid. You got to have money. Money is the have all be all, right? And it's not even money. It's just currency. It's pieces of fucking paper. It's all up here. It's all in your mind. But anyway, they figure out how to program these guys, and now you've got Monsanto, and now you've got atomic weapons, directed energy weapons, all manner of stuff, because these guys have no morals, but they have plenty of money to make these guys do whatever the fuck they want, and control their brains too, right? Nurses, fat nurses who smoke. This is the medical industry. Anyway, but the idea is they have the ability to put ideas into your mind. I'm trying to put ideas into your mind, trying to wake you up a little bit, and maybe that's why it's Sunday school, right? Again, I'm just some guy on the internet. But the idea is that you should be able to take a look at these things and maybe look around you and go, and then govern yourself accordingly, right? Govern yourself, not have someone else govern you. But if you don't think that they took trillions of dollars, and they do it every year, into the secret space program that they finally told you about. Now we have Space Force, MK Ultra programs, mind control programs that are being talked about. What about the ones that they don't talk about? Let's take your police force, just your regular police force. They don't know. The average policeman doesn't understand that it's all about contract. He's trying to enforce the law. Right. So when you read this letter, if you go look at that other one that I put there, the video there, your average police officer doesn't know this. Right. Some of my friends don't know this. Some of my friends absolutely know this. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you tell me? Because it's not for them to tell you. Right? You need to go figure it out. You have access to the same information I do, and they do. Like all the stuff that the Masons know, and all these secret societies and Mithrians, and I can name names that'll get me in trouble and so forth. Yeah, all of them guys, all that information is out there if you look for it. They just have it nicely packaged, and they've been doing it for centuries. But because the game is the same. The game that was going on in the time of Christ is the same game that's going on now. Bond slaves. This book talks about bond slaves. This book talks about the bonds. I'm going to get to that one. Get this one and look up some of the definitions. I should get there. I got to grab, it's in the other room. I just happen to have these laying around here because this is where I do a lot of my reading is right here. But the idea being is that the Black's Law, Bouvier's, that's Anderson's, you need to know what the words mean, because that's how they program you, is with the words. You think the words mean one thing, and turns out they mean another thing. Then they've got you. They don't need to put you in chains like this. They chain you to the sky with your thoughts. Right? I'm suffering from previous programming wherein I thought smoking was cool. And I know, and to the point, here's a true story. There is this female who I didn't find particularly attractive. And by the way, sister of one of those Masons that I was talking about. She's not a bad looking woman by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, we're at the county fair, and I was talking to her, and she'd been drinking and smoking. And the smell of that alcohol, that kind of sweet smell on her breath, and this nicotine on her breath, the cigarette, actually kind of turned me on. Right? And I was like, what? Okay, programming. The idea that I would pick up a cancer stick and put it in my mouth and puff on it, not just once, but 20 to 40 times on a Friday night or a Saturday night while drinking hard liquor or beers. And the more liquor and beer that you can handle, that made you more of a man, didn't it? Oh, he can hold his alcohol. Right? You're not one of them wimps that gets drunk on for 2 drinks. Programming. And now I'm hacking that shit up. And it's been 5 years since I put a cancer stick in my mouth, at least. And even then, that was a short stint, like I said, because of that girl with the... Anyway, women. I'm not going to go there. There's a saying, but I'll leave it alone. But before that, it had probably been another 5 years before I spoke for that little stint. And that was like only about 3-4 months that I did that. Actually, maybe 6 months. And then I quit again. All right, so, and it had been about 5-6 years before. And see, all these people were like, oh, no, you started smoking again. I was like, no, dude, I'm going to drop these. No, and like, oh, yeah, everybody says that. It's been, ask anybody, I don't smoke cigarettes. But I'm hacking it up right now after 5 years because if you go look at my other videos, various teas, herbal remedies, lung cleansers, lo and behold, they work. Anyway, so yeah, I paid for this quote unquote healing crisis. Also Gerson, look into Gerson, because here's the thing. I will tell you, I know some exceptionally wealthy people, and they got nothing. Nothing. They wouldn't. I wouldn't trade places with them. They would trade places with me, though. Guarantee you, because I'm healthy. Right? I mean, I don't look like it now, but I mean, I'm going through this thing. I'm not sick. I'm rarely ever ill. I can do a day's labor with a shovel and a pick at this age still, and I could do it again tomorrow. And I do it every once in a while because I have a friend that has a business that occasionally she bites off more than she can chew. I had another friend that had a business that he always bit off more than he could chew. And even when I had huge amounts of money in my brokerage accounts, I still went down and helped him out because he needed semi-skilled labor to look over some of the other not so skilled labor, and he could trust me not to fuck him. So anyway, and what we were doing is wiring the hotel. See, there you go, tourist industry. When you go into your hotel room and you have the little remote control and you can click on it and you can get your room bill and so forth. Well, there's some wiring and some modifications to those TVs that need to be done. When it's a hotel, there's 800 of them that need to be done, or, if it's a 1,000-room hotel. So it's him and two guys, and they want it done by such and such a date. There's no fucking way it's going to get done. So he would call me up and I would help him out because, I can solder and I can do, I can pull cable and all that kind of stuff. But the idea is that a lot of guys my age can do it, right? They're sick. I have people that they're freaking wealthy and they got nothing because what do? They spend all their time chasing their health again because they destroyed why? Because they got programmed. Because they thought they could eat any fucking thing they wanted. They thought that they could eat all that sugar and nicotine and alcohol and so forth, and that, they would be fine. Turns out not. Turns out their hair is either missing or very gray. Their beards are not black like mine. They're gray, gray, gray. They're white. And like I said, their hair is falling out. They're weak. They can't work all day in the sun. They can't surf. I love surfing. But you got to be in shape. If you want to surf big waves, the ocean doesn't give a fuck about you. And if you ain't strong enough and you can't hold your breath, it will kill you. That's the way I want to go. I mean, that would be a way to go if I was going to go. Went out on a big day and didn't come back, right? Eddie Aikau style. I don't feel bad for Eddie. And Eddie would go, right? And there's been plenty of times when I went out there and I was like, this might not have been the best idea. I remember one time I got out. It was just Ho'okipa, not even, North Shore Maui. But I fucked up and I got a leash and I was boogie boarding. And when it was all said and done and I came up for air, I had a leash, but I had no board and I was in big surf. I'm still here to tell the story. Other people might not have because it was the fact that I'm a fairly strong swimmer and I can hold my breath. That got me out of that situation. A lot of guys my age would have died that day. Promise. All right. The idea, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, if you want to have wealth, that's great. But if you don't have health, you got nothing. Right? You got to be able. Okay, so on occasion, I do cleanses. Like I said, Gerson. Find out about the Gerson thing. Enemas, coffee enemas. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, you need to clean your fucking liver out. You need to clean your liver and kidneys out occasionally. You need to get the parasites out of your freaking digestive tract. Just like every other animal on this planet, you have parasites. My mother didn't believe it. And if you've got parasites, cancer can't be far away. Right? Not everybody that has parasites has cancer, but everybody that has cancer has parasites. That was Hulda Clark. Read her work. So you got to clean that shit out of you on occasion. Because the parasites will come with food, and so they're just natural. They want to live just like we do, and they will find you as a host. So what you want to do is make your physical body not conducive to hosting parasites. And there's herbs and diet that you can do that will make it so that right. And then also candida. Think of candida. Okay, so first off, you feed it with sugar. But think of candida as mushrooms, like little. If you've got that on your head, you call that dandruff. It's mushrooms. If you've got athlete's foot fungus, it's mushrooms growing between your toes. Right? I'm quoting an African doctor. Sebi is another one. But the idea is that, and if you've got candida and you open your mouth and you've got a lot of white on your tongue, And the Indians in Fiji taught me to scrape your tongue every day to get rid of that stuff. So I have a tongue scraper. It didn't used to be part of my repertoire, but it is now. Oh, that actually made a difference. Keeping your mouth clean and so forth. Scrape your tongue at least in the morning, but probably twice a day. But health, 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 right? And these guys, these people that spend trillions, will do everything they can to make you think that this shit isn't important, that you can eat the Oreos and you can munch the fucking Doritos and you can drink the Coke and you can drink the Pepsi, and they'll get you fighting over Coke or Pepsi. It's both of them are poison, and that you'll have no ill effects. And you're correct. Every once in a while, I go to a friend's house or go to a party or something like that, and they've got shit on the table to eat. I don't offend them by saying, I'm a vegetarian. Right? No, I just eat what they put out. Right? Because one dose of Coke and Doritos isn't going to kill me. One dose of food made with canola and other Wesson oil and so forth, and fried crappy shit food that a lot of the people here love to put in their face, and it is fucking delicious. Make no mistake, some of that stuff's just delicious. But it ain't good for you, and you ain't gonna live long eating it. But I'm not gonna offend them by saying no. Right? They put food out. A woman cooks food for you. Eat the fucking food. Period. Right? And you can detox it later. But the idea for me is I'd rather not offend these people, and I'm healthy enough that, yeah, 1 or 2 days. Okay, but then you eat it every day, week after week, month after month, year after year. You think you're not going to have ill effects? Think your fucking teeth aren't going to fall out? Think you're not going to now start having to go? And what they love that, because now you go to get their pharmaceuticals from them. Right? They cause the problem, and then they give you the solution. Right? That's dialectic has been going on forever and ever and ever. And you guys want to think that you're immune to such, right? But you're not. And again, just because you got money. One of my friends, and pretty good friend, I talk to them at least once a week, billion with a B. Yeah, this guy knows more about supplements than I do. But then every once in a while, I'll throw something at him, and I won't mention it because every time I fucking mention it in a video, it's they cut me off. So, but I can write it down. Actually, that's not true, because one time I was writing down stuff and they cut me off again. Whenever you're flying over there, right? Find out about that. Just find out about it. It will change your life. And then the other thing to find out about is, wait, let me come back and I'll show you. And get some now, because price of gold is about to go through the roof. It's going to be, there's going to be $15,000 gold. It won't be terribly long, right? So right now it's around around 2,000, right? Oh, and I want to talk about that a little bit too, but get this stuff because it's actually made from gold. This stuff right here, this is the Philosopher's Stone. And this also is part of the reason why I'm having the crisis that I'm having. Oh my, it's time to get more. That's called ORMUS. This is made 100% from gold. And you eat it. All right. This right here, $68, $70. It's going to be a lot more soon because it's made from gold. Right now, gold's around, right? So you figure if it goes up to 15,000, let's make it even, 16,000. And we'll call it, instead of 1943 or whatever gold closed at, we'll call it 2,000. So 8 times as much. So this is going to be 8 times as much soon, because the stuff that they make it from, gold, is going to be 8 times more expensive. So this will be 8 times as much. But find out about this. Find out about Gerson. Find out about this. Because this right here will make a huge difference. I started putting hydrogen into my system, and holy, instant. I mean, most stuff, it takes a few days to notice. That was instantaneous. Like, I noticed immediately. Get some hydrogen into your system. The point is that you are programmed to think that, and up until, let's see, 70s, I think it was 80s. I remember being in a nutrition class in a college at University of Hawaii, Manoa. Not a nutrition class, but a biology class. And basically what they were saying is, doesn't matter what you eat. Doesn't matter. Your body will just take whatever nutrients it needs. This thing is so awesome that you can put any crap in there and it'll be fine. This was in university in the 80s, right? We haven't come that far. Doctors still, if you talk to a Western person that is got a degree from the Rockefeller Institutes, that give them these, right? The mushroom cult that has completely fucking destroyed the health of this country, right down to the point where now there are children that have cancer. Now there are children that can't eat a peanut without dying. Now there are children that have so many crazy allergies. It's anyway. They have wrecked the health of this country because there's money in it. No other reason. But the idea is that this right here will reverse a lot of that very quickly. The machines are not cheap, right? I have a machine over there, makes water. It's a $2,500 machine, KANGAN machine, right? And I can make, and I just got done making water this morning, right? 11.5 water and 2.5 water. Understand about how the pH system works. Whoopsie, got out of control. Let's see here. pH. The lower the pH, so 2.5, the more hydrogen. It strips, it literally takes the molecules of water and strips the oxygen off and leaves you with lots of H's. And the higher the pH, up here at 14, about 11.5, that is HOs. Right? Hose, or OHs. I think it's the proper syntax for that. But basically what it does is, on the other hand, less hydrogen, more oxygen. And there's a machine using electromagnetic plates, that technology that will do it. Look into KANGAN machines. They're not cheap. And then look into Brown's gas generators. That machine right there, one of the ones that I was looking at, was like $2,300. But if you think, and that will reverse many, many, many issues, right? Just that much. Just changing your water will change your life. That's not a joke, right? I think that's a slogan for the company. But change your water, change your life. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And again, health. You got large amounts of money and no health. All you're going to do is spend your money on chasing your health. And why are you chasing your health? Because you got programmed. Because they have trillions of dollars to get you to buy their products. You don't think advertising works? You don't think news works? Right? There's a bunch of people on this planet that thought that Trump, just here in the United States generally, that Trump was a Russian agent and his wife was a Russian spy. There are people that believe that. I know people, I can walk to their house that believe that shit. Right? That Trump is evil. I don't know if he's one of the good guys or where he is on the spectrum, but let's see. He seems to be brokering peace deals. Seems to have didn't start any wars. Obama got a peace prize and he was droning the fuck out of people, including U.S. citizens. So, I mean, that, oh, see, there's another one. Oh my gosh. Ah! Cigarettes. Why? Because somebody told me that that would make me cool. And I fucking believe them. Anyway, the idea is that mind control is a real thing. And they understood that they didn't need to chain you or tat you, you know, put marks on you and so forth to make you chattel property, if they could just, pardon me, woo, there's something that wants to get out of here. I can tell. But anyway, they figured out that they didn't have to chain your mind. And the other thing, again, was it your idea to get a cell phone? Of course it was your idea to get a cell phone. Of course it was. I mean, look at all the convenience right there. Yeah, you can schedule stuff and you know, you put the tracker on and you know where your children are all the time. And you can look up anything. Apparently you won't look up this shit though. You won't look up this, but you can look up, you know, sports scores and. All right. So the point of this video is get control of your own mind. One of the best ways to do that, meditation. All right, I got a hot bath drawn. It's going to start getting cold, but the solar energy, that water was so hot when I started with it. I couldn't even get in there. I mean, you could probably make soft-boiled eggs in that water. It's so damn hot. So by now it's cooled down. I've noticed that, and see, find out about hydrotherapy and heat therapy, right? That's what I'm doing. One of the things that I'm doing now that I've got the healing crisis going, where my body is obviously, as you're seeing firsthand, trying to hack out all this stuff that I foolishly put in there, toxins and heavy metals and nicotine and tars and all manner of burnt crap and, you know, smoke particles and so on, which are apparently still in my lungs 5 years later. One of the fastest, yep, I mean, like I said, that right there, just like one of the coughs that I would have in the morning after a night of drinking and smoking. Cigarettes, not the Pacololo, but but cigarettes, right? Like I said, I cannot get over the fact that I was so fucking asleep at that point. Because, like I said, people think like the awakening process is a process. It doesn't have well, some of it is it's stair step, right? Bink. Wait a minute, there's satanic pedophiles. Bink. Wait a minute, there seems to be others. Bink. Right? But it doesn't happen all at once. You don't go from here to here. And if you do, there can be emotional crisis and breakdown when you start to realize. Because I had another friend, wealthy woman. She thought I was completely fucking out of my mind when it came to the fact that there's traffic going on in child trafficking. And then it got put in her face, and she could not deny it anymore. And I have another friend. She could not believe that they would stick children in containers. And then that story came out about them finding, 60 children in a container? Like, these people are sick beyond your imaginings, right? But like I said, you don't get there all at once. You usually get there in stair steps. So when it came to health, right, I got there. I just keep adding stuff. I find out about black seed oil, find out about Gerson, find out about water, find out about HHO, find out about all manner of manganese, not just magnesium, but magnesium. Man, I found out that I was magnesium deficient because when I started taking, cannabis. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Why is it that CBDs seem to be so miraculous when it comes to curing people? I mean, there are people, no THC in there, just CBD oil from the hemp plant, not from the cannabis sativa or indica, but from just the regular old cannabis plant that we make rope and building materials and so forth, hemp, that's finally been legalized. Yay, Hawaii actually legalized them. You can grow it now. But anyway, CBD, because the intercannabinoid system that you have, see, there was a time when I couldn't even say that, but the intercannabinoid system, every one of us has it, and there are only receptors for CBDs, for these various chemicals in the hemp plant. Interesting. We seem to have, as a friend of mine said, it's like the dog of plants. Anyway, because we've been around it forever. And then about 100 years ago, or not even, 80, 90 years ago, they tricked you into thinking that this was the devil. And then you wind up with all these palsies because it turns out that you don't get enough of that. And yeah, you shake, you get MS, you get all kind of symptoms right? And I'm sure by now you've seen the ones where they smoke or take a few drops and suddenly they stop shaking. And suddenly they don't stutter anymore. And you've heard 1,001 stories where people took CBDs because it is an essential nutrient. And see what they figured out, and I've made videos about sulfur. Go find out about sulfur. Right? They take these two things out, and now what? Now you sick. Now the slave's sick. They make the slave sick, right? Because what are they doing? They're just moving the currency. So the money that you would have spent on a house or the car or the food or the cool clothes or the whatever the fuck it is instead spent on trying to get your health back. Right? So they just moved the currency, right? Just what they did, right? Instead of you going to mom and pop and middle America and the middle class, now you go to Bezos. Now you go to Walmart. Why? Because you can't go anywhere else because they told those businesses that they weren't essential. They understand the currency. So maybe you want to spend some time with your phone understanding electrical engineering. Because if you understand how current works, you're going to understand a lot more about this because it works the same way. That's why they call it currency. That's why they're banks. Anyway, this CBD and sulfur, remove it from the human, they get sick. What do you do when you get sick? Do you go out and go, oh, well, I need CBD? No, this is the devil. Remember? It's THC, right? Pothead, hippie, sulfur. Never heard of it. Even Linus Pauling, it didn't talk about sulfur. I put sulfur back into my diet, right? And that's one of the things. I just spent like $400. If you get back to the beginning of this call, assuming this thing doesn't get deleted, that was right. DHL, $400 to Fiji. That's how much she values the sulfur. Willing to pay just for the shipping, because when she stopped taking the sulfur, huge difference in skin, hair, and aches and pains and arthritis and all that other stuff. Put the sulfur back in the system, all that stuff seems to go away. Put the CBD back in the system, a lot of problems go away. I have a neighbor over here, beat the cancer, How do you beat the cancer? Right? Okay. But if you're ignorant and mind controlled, you won't go there. You'll go get pharmaceuticals. You'll go get treatments. You'll go get surgery. I can tell you stories about sulfur where people that were scheduled for heart surgery decided to take sulfur instead, and every single one of them canceled their heart surgery. CBD. Anyway, the idea is these are essential nutrients. These are not maybes. These are not ones that you can do without. And when you do without them for 80 years, see, because before hemp, the seeds were, and anybody will tell you that does animal husbandry, you feed animals hemp, and you get better tasting meat, you get more eggs, you get healthier pigs and cows that don't need pharmaceuticals. See, and then that meat was CBD rich, and those eggs and that milk had trace amounts of CBD. So you were getting this stuff naturally, and then they cut it off 100%. So our animals didn't get it. We don't get it. So now you put CBD back in the system, and you get quote unquote miraculous cures. Yeah, this stuff isn't hard once you start to wake up and smell the roses and take a look around and understand that United States corporation is not your fucking friend. It's there to make laws to extract wealth from you. So what did the United States corporation do? Made CBD and hemp illegal. Slave, you can't have it for your own good. And see, you have to smile, right? Because I know a lot of people find out this information and they have hate in their heart, right? They start hating these people, right? These fuckers took away our, right? And made my grandma say, right? And if my mother would have known about this, she wouldn't have died. If grandma, true, and true. Let it go, right? Hate leads to the dark side. Simple as that. I mean, and I got friends, I know they're laughing that they see me, but I mean, it does. Hate leads to the dark side. And because then that's another trick. They get you on the left-hand path. So instead of focusing on that, see, that's the same thing I tell my son. You can, both sons, you can travel this world in the sewers. You can spend your time in the shitty cities of all over the world, Delhi and New York and California. I've been to some places in Cali that you might, some of you fairer-skinned folk might not have fared so well there, right? You can spend your time, or you can go to beautiful waterfalls, and you can go to lovely beaches, and you can go to places where for miles around there aren't any other humans. You can go pet elephants, and you can play in Africa. It's a big planet. So you want to focus on the filth and the sewers? Go fucking slog around the sewers. You can spend a lifetime doing it if you want to. Or you can go where the pristine water is. Your choice. Right? They're trying to turn United States corporation and the land that it governs into shit. And they've done a pretty good job in some places. So move. Or stand your ground and turn around and make it better. Right? How do you make it better? Educate, educate, educate. Educate self so that you can educate others. Right? There's guys I know personally that are doing the urban farm thing, trying to teach these people, look, you're surrounded by, I mean, you know, you can grow food in buildings in the middle of the city if you want to, with a little bit of technology. You're a little further out in the burbs, or not even the burbs. I mean, there's plenty of places where there are patches of land. Oh, did you know? I'm just thinking about patches of land. But and you can turn those patches of land into productive, healthy food. You can add the sulfur into the soil. You can do aquaponics and all kind of stuff and feed yourself. Or you can count on the corporations to feed you. Much easier. Even my son. I mean, if I come home with all kind of food, there's salad to this right now. All the packaged shit that I bought has been eaten, but the salad is still sitting there, right? Which reminds me, make yourself a salad and put it in your face. Anyway, the point being is, or the story I was going to tell you is, did you know that Central Park, what is now Central Park in New York, used to be a place where African, or not African, but, we'll say people of African descent, slaves, former slaves, got land, got themselves freed, built themselves churches and schools and a little village there, and we're actually starting to thrive. And what do? They bulldozed it, and now you call it Central Park. Fact check me, motherfuckers. Fact check me. Anyway, they ain't your friends. Right? They mean to govern you. Trump means to govern you. He does not mean to set you free. He doesn't want to make it so that you are free to walk around on this planet and do whatever the fuck you want. No, 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 no. He wants you to be represented by members of U.S. corporation, United States corporation. Right? Wants you voting. Does not want you being secured third-party creditor. Doesn't want you knowing about the UCC. Doesn't want you knowing about contracts. Doesn't want you to understand that your police force is a private corporation. Look up Dun & Bradstreet. If you know about Dun & Bradstreet, so I used to have securities licenses in it. Go look at Dun & Bradstreet and go find the names of your various corporations that govern you. Your county is a corporation that is listed on Dun & Bradstreet. Your police force is listed on Dun & Bradstreet. Your judiciary is listed on Dun & Bradstreet. Your fucking state is listed on Dun & Bradstreet. And United States Corporation, well, that's not, but the other ones are. And go look. They don't hide shit from you. They just want to make sure that you're well enough distracted so that, oh, you're knowing about the Kenosha kid and you're knowing about all the other stuff that's going on and climate change and whatever the fuck it is that they're trying to scare you with next, and the Rona is going to kill all of you. You know, and some of you guys know all the statistics, how many people are dead. I used to keep track. I don't keep track anymore. Well, last I knew, there was like 35 people in my whole state of 1.44 million people had died of the Rona. Why do I need to know that? Well, but you know what my point is, what they're trying to do is keep you distracted, keep you afraid, fear porn, and if they can keep you sick, that's governance 101. I've talked about this before. Machiavelli and others, rules of governance. This one right here, they absolutely understand how to govern you, and you ain't rising up if you're sick. You ain't rising up if you got to take care of that autistic child. You ain't rising, right? You don't have time. Okay, so maybe you want to educate self and educate others, and as a group, we progress. All right, holy cow, look at all these comments, look at all this stuff. All right, there's comments over here. And like I said, take some of your comments and put them underneath this video after it gets done. Like, just cut and paste them. Ooh, it's Annabek. Hi. Oh, dear. I'm just reading. Yep. That's the other thing. They made a system of schooling for you. And you think it's to educate you, right? You think it's to make you smarter. No, it's to make you dumber. It's to make it so that you can't logic and reason. It's to make it so that you believe the bullshit that United States Corporation puts out. Yeah, just making sure that you stay within that left-right paradigm and that you never progress. Let's see here. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, okay. So I appreciate it, and I do this as much for myself because it gives me one. I look at some of it and I go, oh yeah, that's what I should put in that letter. Oh yeah, I got to remember to write that, or you know, when you write some of this paperwork, and yeah, you got to know about this concept right here. And see, I just had this conversation. You've gotten to the point where you start to hear it more and more, and I see it on social media. One law for us and one law for them. Absolutely correct. Absolutely right. You don't know how right you are. One law for the slaves and one law for those that are not slaves. And you see that what happens. They seem to be able to get away with a lot of stuff. You'd be able to get away with it too if you weren't a slave. If you didn't tell them that you needed representation. If you didn't tell them that you were that corporate fiction. If you did, in fact, tell them that you were a man or a woman, yeah, there would be a different set of laws for you. Absolutely. That is the truth. All right, peeps. I've about had enough. I'm going to go sit in a very, very hot tub of water. I may have to go add some, but we've had lovely, well, you can't see it, but we have lovely sun streaming in right now. And that makes, because I have a solar system here, the water very, very hot. And you need to be able to take that water until it literally turns your skin red. And you can't do it immediately. I remember the photos of the Japanese, and I couldn't get in those. They were too damn hot for me. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't believe that these people could sit in what I considered boiling water. But what you do is you get to the point where you can get it hotter and hotter and hotter. The pores open up, the capillaries open up. Find out about the red spice, master the red spice. I hated the red spice until I had a Mexican girlfriend, and she taught me about the red spice, and I've had numerous people tell me, I'm fortunate that I met this woman, because the red spice saved my life, because there is a history of heart issues in one side of my family. And I may or may not have, I don't know, but my grandfather was in the ground at 54 from a heart attack. But I've passed that age, and I don't, as far as I know, I don't have any heart problems. But that's because I eat a lot of red. So I used to use ketchup. Now I use sriracha. Right? I don't hardly ever use sriracha. Ketchup. I use just straight up sriracha, and people are amazed. And it doesn't bother me, and it took me a while to get to that point where I could do the sriracha thing, because I didn't use like red spice at all, but master the red spice, then master the yellow spices, and then the brown spices. But the primary spice that you want to, and then of course the green spices, but the red spice is the queen of all spices. But again, health. If you don't have health, you got nothing. Okay, go back and watch. Holy crap, I'm going for an hour. That water's going to be freaking tepid. I have to go fill it back up again. But yeah, find out about hydrotherapy and heat therapy. And don't overdo it, because you can give yourself a heart attack and kill yourself. That's why they have warnings in the hot tubs about little children and older people and pacemakers and stuff. Well, at least in our hotels, pretty much every hot tub has a warning like that. But once you can get the water up warm enough, and then you got to replace it with good water from a KANGAN machine, you literally are replacing. It's like changing the oil in your car, except you're changing the water in your lymph system. And that will make a huge difference right there. And then you find that, what is the guy's name? Ted Gundry, and put it on this piece of paper. He has a product called Total Restore, basically for restoring your gut lining, so that you don't have crap go through your gut walls and your intestinal walls to pollute your lymph system and your blood also. So what you want to do, and sulfur will also definitely help build that mucus mucosal layer that you need, not the bad mucus that I have in my lungs right now, but the good mucus that lines your stomach walls and lines your intestinal walls and keeps toxins and other crappy material from getting into the bloodstream and lymph system, right? Like your lymph nodes and so on. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. But the idea is, once you start doing these kind of things, you can actually change the there's no real way to reverse aging, but you can slow it down so that this person has aged physically in a year that much, and you only age that much in a year. I don't quote me on this, because I'm sure somebody will come up with it. I don't think you can go backwards. I don't think you can go that way, but you can certainly slow this thing down. I have managed to do it, as you can see. And this other guy, the one that was talking about that guy, if you look at his older videos and you look at his newer videos, he definitely looks younger in the newer videos than in the older videos. And he was one of those guys that was hard-headed. He's like, inhale hydrogen, that's crazy talk. That's an explosive gas. Yes, it is. And you are 64% hydrogen? Here, I'll give you the numbers again, to the best of my recollection. It's 64%, 24%, 12%, and 2%. And these are approximates. So it's not going to, right there, that's 100%. So approximately, that's hydrogen. That's oxygen. That's carbon. And that's all the other stuff, right? You can make this thing if you knew how to put it together. I remember watching a video where they were talking about, you can buy all the chemicals you need to make a human for about $45, even with the inflated prices. Because it's mostly hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon is what you're made of. So, and all the other stuff I talk about, where I was talking about sulfur and CBDs and manganese and magnesium and iodine and all the other essentials, vitamin C and vitamin D and so on, that's over here. That's at 2%. Most of you is hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So I started supplementing with C60. I haven't really noticed that much of a difference, to tell you the truth. And turmeric, one of Sarah Westall's products. Oxygen, water, and hydrogen. And this, look at the number right there. That's the biggest difference. So that guy, you see him now, he always he looks like, those people that are usually lung cancer patients from smoking too much and they have the oxygen thing. Well, his is hydrogen. And that machine costs like $2,300. But the difference, and I've seen now all manner of testimonials and stories, and it's just anecdotal evidence, but still, where they put the hydrogen in, and psoriasis go away, heart problems go away, skin problems go away, wrinkles go away, gray goes away, cavities go away, problems with kidneys and liver and other organ go away, issues with joints and so forth go away, all of this stuff. And you can see a difference in their person, in their skin. I mean, in the way they look younger. They literally look younger. So, like I said, I don't quote me on the fact that you can't go backwards. But what I've figured out, and then there's a whole matter of hormones you need to learn about also. But in hormone replacement, because as you get older, you obviously make less hormones. But apparently, when you have CBD and sulfur and hydrogen, your body has all the basic building blocks it needs to make hormones, and it's much easier for your body to make hormones. Like I said, rather than age that much in a year, if you do that, so I mean, think about it. Over a 10-year period, you look like this, and because I just ran into another friend of mine, and he goes, did you make it? What is it? What did he say? Actually, what he said is, and I hope you get the reference, what's the fucking painting in your attic look like? I was like, I didn't make a deal. I did not make a deal. I just figured out food magic is what most of my friends call it, right? How to eat food in combining and how to put stuff, because it's what you eat, it's what you put in, it's what you put in, it's what you put in. So, and I got a ionizer so that I'm not breathing nasty particles, right? They fully got rid of the ionic breeze because you notice that they're spraying stuff. Do you notice that? Yeah, and the ionic breeze took out down to micronized particles. So yeah, they got rid of that fucking company. They freaking smashed Sharper Image. But there are numerous companies, and go on the Gerson website or companies or websites that espouse the Gerson therapy and look at their air purifiers. Because what is it? It's air, water, and then it's food, right? So get your air handled, right? Because you can go days without food. You can go days without water, but you can only go minutes without 22.22. Right, 22.22 is the world record for holding your breath. So you can go about 22 minutes without air. So air is the first one you want to get handled. Purify the air in your apartment, in your house, in your office, in your whatever it is. Because, I mean, those buildings are usually nasty, but you can make your little cubicle or your little area, the air better by just buying a little air purifier that you breathe. And then water, right? I spent $2,500 on a machine that makes, it's not just a water purifier. It's to find out about KANGAN machines. And then air coming back to the gas and so forth that you breathe, the hydrogen, right? That's air. And then you start talking about food. Then you start talking about the stuff that you eat, because you can't go very long without air. You can't go very long without water. I think that on average, it's like max is like 40 days without water. And that's like pushing it. Most people would be dead by then. But you can go a long, long time. I mean, there's people that have lived through famines, never eaten any solid food for, months. And they're gaunt and all their muscles would come off and so on. And see, there's nasty studies. Again, $2.3 billion or $1 trillion. I'm sure they've done some studies on what happens when you do this to a human. And I don't know if those subjects volunteered or not, but what happens when you don't give any food for 6 months? What happens if you take this nutrient out? What happens if you put this toxin in? What happens if you give them this toxin and this toxin? right? I'm sure of those studies. Yeah, you can see this. See, you can see the sun now. Is right. So my water is going to be super hot. But the idea is that if you don't have your health, you ain't got nothing. Okay. And take a look at the concept of the Chinese moving into the Democratic Party for sure. They're also in the Republican Party, taking over various aspects of our economy, getting Democrats and other leaders all the way to the top to make insane trade deals like the TTP and NAFTA and gutting our manufacturing. And where did they move it to? They moved it to China. What is Trump trying to do? Stop it from China, make it with a more like India. I'd much rather be friends with India. They're take a look at India and their governance as compared to Chinese governance. The Chinese Communist Party is a horrifying, ugly thing. That's not just propaganda. Just look into the Chinese Communist Party. You think Democrats are bastards. Them guys is worse. But anyway, take a look at how they have infiltrated our government in this country, our finances, our industry, our medicine, our supply chains. Yeah. There are some people that figured out that, yeah, we need to stop what's going on there. And then take a look at the fact that, yeah, those guys understood that they could make us sick and they could make us weak. Because you may not remember or you may not believe the fact that KANGAN machine, and I'm not going to give you the link. Fucking get your own goddamn links. I mean, for fuck's sake, people. Anyway, it's a KANGAN machine. KANGAN water machine. KANGAN water purifier. Ionizer. But the idea is that these people have absolutely, positively, like I said, I'm getting to the point where I'm not putting links in. In fact, I'm taking links out. Go do your own fucking research. Right? You want the shit spoon fed to you? Then you want to be ignorant and free. You want what has never been and will never be. So you have access to the same fucking information. I give you, right? I watch videos and I take notes. Take tons and tons of notes, keywords, and then I go search them out, right? Many, 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 many keywords. You can do the same. Learn to do it for yourself. Anyway, it's a KANGAN machine. Get one. I'm supposedly a distributor, but fuck it. I don't even want to deal with people. So get one. There's somebody in your neighborhood or somebody where you live that has KANGAN machines. But the idea is that these guys had figured out that they could make money off of the American bond slave, bought up our bonds, made us sick, and then were selling us as pharmaceuticals. Same way. Same thing. And they weren't just doing it in the United States. They're doing it in Africa, and some of them, they're doing it in, and see, the Chinese were trying to make themselves out to be the good guys, and the Americans are the bad guys. But in Indonesia, all over the place, the Chinese were doing their, world dominance thing. Because I've been to China, and they absolutely think that it is their turn, that the American century is over, and it was China's turn. Well, there's some Americans that are going, no. And that's part of the struggle that you're watching. But even that is one step down from, that's still the control structure of getting the humans on the planet. These happen to be Chinese humans. These happen to be, I'm just going to mixed, right? Because this is one thing I have to say about China. That is the most homogenous society I've ever been in. When I was in PRC, I was there for days, and I saw 4 other people that weren't Chinese. I mean, it was amazing. Anyway, get these guys to fight with each other. Oh, throw the Russians in there. Get them to fight with it. Get everybody to fight with each other. And you don't see these guys up here that are pulling the puppet strings on all of it. And you will hear about Rothschilds, and you will hear about Rockefellers, and the big Morgans and Carnegies and all those guys, and Vanderbilts, and the big families and so forth. But you ain't ever going to see the guys that are actually pulling the strings, right? Because they have what's called the allegiance. They have that thing that stands in front of them that you never, ever, ever see. So what we got to do if we want to progress as a species is quit killing each other. I know that sounds like crazy talk, but stop killing each other and maybe focus on nurturing each other, mind, body, and spirit. What I was talking about for the most part here was body, right? Health. But there's a whole other aspect to this thing that that's again, pretty much above my pay grade when it comes to spirit. Right? So this Sunday school isn't about, I'm not reading you Bible scripture or Bhagavad Gita or Supreme Yoga or something like that. That's very personal and up to you. Right? But mind, they get control of your mind, be much easier to keep your body healthy, and then you can progress, because it's just a spirit in a physical being. This is not, this body certainly does not house a spirit. The spirit houses the body, right? Most people have that exactly backwards, and that again was by design, because you're thinking that it's the opposite. Right? But it's not. This body comes and goes. The spirit is here forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. All right. I'm out. I'll talk to you guys soon again. It'll be a while, actually, before the next one. Unless, actually, that's not true, because there's so fucking much going on. Every time I turn around, there's 105 things going on. I'll put links to various channels. Road to Root is a good one. Silver Bullion. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff. Look up Jim Willie, right? The Golden Jackass. Interesting character for sure. But see, he's been making predictions and he's been getting it correct. So he's starting to, right? He made some bad calls. Make no mistake, everybody does. But he's made a hell of a lot of good calls, and he's been pretty consistent lately, making good call after good call and being prescient. And somehow predicting some of the things that are like QE to infinity. When he first started talking about QE to infinity, that was crazy talk. Now we have QE to infinity. And that's just one of the things. So he's talking about silver gold getting to 15,000. He's talking about the Chinese taking over in Wall Street and buying up stuff there because we allowed them to become so wealthy that they were able to buy up all kind of stuff. Just like how the Japanese, when they were at their zenith, they were buying up all the big buildings and Chinese doing the same. And not just in the United States, not just in the North American continent, on the African continent, and the European continent, on the South American continent. The concept of the Communist Party in China is world domination. Not just good enough to rule China. They want the whole fucking thing. Okay. And the reason why they want the whole fucking thing is because they are controlled by the bankers. The whole communist thing is a construct of the same people that own our Federal Reserve. And now that Federal Reserve has been pushed into our treasury. Like I said, I don't know what happens, but it's getting interesting. Stay happy. Keep a happy mindset, because, yeah. Done up. Never seen one. Yeah, see? Just go look up water purifiers. And if you can't, really, Kangan, that's too much for you to figure out. Anyhow, the idea is that these guys, absolutely are in control of our system, to the point, media and so forth, to the point where they got the mind. So take back your mind, take back your body. And lastly, and I'll do that. The last one is meditation. Makes the biggest difference, fastest, easiest way to start figuring out a lot of this stuff, because you sit there for an hour and just, clear your mind, and amazing things happen. So again, it's the three, right? It's always the three. It's always three: mind, body, spirit. Right? Left-hand path, right-hand path, the middle road. I don't talk about the middle road much, right? But go with the right-hand path, I'm telling you. Because middle road, it's easy to fall off onto the left-hand path. 100 monkey out. I've about had enough here. Like I said, I want to get into a hot bath and get the rest of this out of my lungs. Every time I do it, it's so much better. Yesterday was much, much better. And I will talk to you guys soon. E pluribus unum. Educate yourself, and that way you can educate others. And I've said it pretty much every video for the last few videos. You can't tell these people anything, so you got to get them asking questions. And you can't get them asking questions if you haven't educated yourself well enough to get them to know, or to be able to get them to ask questions, right? There's a Socratic method. You have to know the answers, right? Don't like, well, what is that? I think it was Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. You don't walk into a courtroom asking questions that you don't know the answer to. If the first rule of walking into a courtroom and any kind of debate and so forth is you never, ever ask a question that you don't already know the correct answer to. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. 100 Monkey out. Thanks for the Patreons. I really, really, really appreciate it. The likes and subscribes and so forth. Considering I have, 1,700 subscribers or something like that last I checked. Right? The analytics and the bullshit that goes on here with the thought police and the fact checkers is, see, you give them an opportunity, and you've seen it in Australia now. You'll see it in the United States. You see it on Facebook. You see it all over the place, where there's always somebody who will try and inhibit. That's why our founding fathers made that so. Right, the first thing on the Bill of Rights is free speech. And because there are always those that will try and limit your free speech. There are always those that will try to control you by making it so that you can't defend yourself and that you can't speak freely and that you can only hear one side and so forth. There's always going to be those kind of people. So you have to stand fast at the doors of your mind and guard against whatsoever you let therein. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. And of course, now let's see you. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Out.